Well, good morning and welcome to another Wine Steward video. Good to pretend I'm seeing you again, and we have a few things to tell you about, including what's going on this weekend in the backyard and in a vineyard nearby. Yeah, we're picking, we're harvesting, and we're working on the next Plus de Vie. So Plus de Vie is a wine that we've made, I believe, 5 times now, which is represented by a rather fanciful label here from a couple years back. We were working with fruit up in Oakley, very, very old vines on their own roots, unirrigated. Some of the oldest vines in California are represented in here, Carignan and Mourvedre. But the whole idea, really, the dream for Plus de Vie has been to make a Livermore Valley wine statement, and that's in fact what came to fruition with last vintage. And this is the 2023 Plus de Vie that's now released. We only have a little because we didn't make a lot. And we are planning on making this again in the 2024 vintage. So here, I'd like you to meet Mr. Syrah. He's going to be perhaps the main component, perhaps 50 or 60% of this blend, which is always a Rhone blend. Yes, here we did Mourvedre and Carignan. Those are considered to be Rhone grape varieties. But there are other members in that family that will be represented in the next Plus de Vie. Domaine de Plus de Vie will include this guy here. This guy's like almost too heavy to pick up. But that is Carignan, which I now have in the backyard. And Carignan, whereas this is old vine Carignan, this is pretty darn young vine Carignan. But it's going to be part of the deal. And what else is going to happen? How about Mourvedre? Yeah, we mentioned Mourvedre and Carignan as being the only components here. But now they are going to be along with Syrah. So that's a Mourvedre cluster as picked from the backyard just this morning. And here is Grenache. One way of understanding whether or not it's a Grenache or let's say a Syrah cluster is this extra lobe. That's what they call this extra growth here on a cluster of Grenache. Grenache is for the charming fruit aspect of the wine. Syrah, and you can pretty much tell by the dark grapes going on there, is great for color and richness, you might say. The Carignan is for really good acidity, and again, another dark, thick-skinned grape contributing color. And Mourvedre is for a little bit of, let's say, the belly rub. That's what Mourvedre sometimes reminds me of. And Rusty gets a belly rub every morning when we wake up, and so I certainly am familiar with that really comforting furry smell that happens when you give a dog a belly rub, as long as the dog is nice and clean. Anyway, these are the components, but there's one more, and this might be interesting to you. So along with Syrah, Grenache, Mourvedre, and Carignan, there will be, once again, 1 or 2% of this. Yes, a white grape will be co-fermented. That means all these grapes will ferment together in a half-ton bin to make 1 hogshead's worth of wine, hogshead meaning a larger sized barrel, 300 liter, and into that batch will go some Muscat, and this is perhaps the best eating grape out there. Muscat is one of the few grapes where when you taste a grape, you can imagine the final product in the form of wine. In other words, you can pick up that perfumey quality that Muscat will contribute to the wine by just eating one of these gorgeous grapes. Yum, yum, yum. And that's enough about the upcoming Domaine de Plus de Vie. We'll get it fermenting next week. And probably right around this time next year, we'll have it out because we like to do a quick spin with this wine. We don't want it to be too ponderously endowed with oak flavors and too much aging. We like it to be fresh and fruit forward. All right, so look forward to that. Oh, there's one grape. That tastes like a Syrah, maybe. Let's tell you about a wine. I think what I'm going to do for a while in our newsletters, our weekly newsletter that we send out via Constant Contact, it's an email, we should probably highlight a wine that validates us as the wine steward. In other words, I'm getting kind of tired of people saying, oh, wine consumption is down. We have a lot of theories as to why, and I believe one theory that is correct is that people have gotten kind of tired of the mundane wines that are out there in the grocery stores that are just nothing but really flavored up brands, and they don't have any distinctiveness. They don't have a story behind them as far as source and a small producer working hard to make a great wine. Well, let's focus on one real wine every week for a while now. I mean, I'll be telling you about some other real wines, but let's tell you about this, which is represented only by a rather provocative looking pear on the front. So let's turn it around and show you that this is from Three Wine Company. Three Wine Company is located up in Clarksburg. That's up in the Sacramento River Delta, northwest of Lodi, you might say. Really pretty area. And visited the tasting room the other day and got reacquainted with Matt Klein's wife, Erin Klein, and more recently Matt Klein was bringing this wine to us because I tasted it up there, loved it, and said, let's put this, how about, I have a grape seed in my Anyway, that's gone. This is the best grape in the world, you know, we just say that, but this is 100% Chenin Blanc as grown in Clarksburg. Clarksburg is one of California's largest providers of Chenin Blanc grape, the best grape in the world, don't you know? And of course, that grape is better known perhaps as coming from the Loire Valley of France, where it has place names like Vouvray and Savinier on the labels. But Chenin Blanc from California can be fantastic. We just kind of like stigmatized it a long time ago by growing it in places that were too warm and making jug wine with it. But this is in fact beautiful Clarksburg Chenin Blanc, destined for the White Wine Club, and the rest of you can buy some too, because even though Matt Klein made only 160 something cases of this, we can obtain more. So you White Wine Club members will be receiving this as of next week. You can come grab some in the meantime if you're intrigued by what you're seeing in front of you. Let's just tell you what this is like. I've given you some facts, where it's from, who's behind it. Matt Klein of the Klein family, but he left the Klein winery situation to start his own thing many, many years ago. He and Erin make this, and this is fresh. Wow. This is orchard fruits. I mean, maybe pear is happening in here. And definitely some citrus, perhaps a sense of lemon. That extra thing that a good Chenin Blanc gives you is like a freshly washed champignon or a white button mushroom, or something like a damp cave too. Not musty necessarily, but there's this refreshingly cool quality. Of course it's cool, it's been chilling, but it has wonderful coolness to it, freshness. You know, this would be great on a hot summer day in the Delta, I believe. And yeah, it is on a hot summer day in Pleasanton. Let's prove it. Clean, refreshing, no oak whatsoever, all stainless steel. Crisp and delicious. Luscious pear, a real wine in that small production, thoughtfully grown from an identifiable place, from a place famous for this particular grape. So it's an important wine, it's a real wine. It's not souped up with extra additives and shit like that. So here's the real wine. Let's make wine great again. How about that? Let's tell you really quickly about a couple of spirits that have shown up. Well, I told you a long time ago that we sell limoncello, and then I kept forgetting to order it. So this is merely an announcement that limoncello is back in the house from Sorrento, Italy. This is our favorite limoncello ever tasted. Angelino, a great purveyor of wine, also sells us a few spirits, grappa and such, and brings us this limoncello. So those of you who have been missing it, it's back. Now let's tell you about this rather gigantic looking bottle. Gigantic in that this is a 1 liter bottle, not a 750 milliliter bottle of Libertad, or I should say Tierra y Libertad Tequila Blanco. This is Blanco in that it saw no barrel, and I kind of prefer Blancos myself. Other people go for the reposados and añejos and extra añejos. Those are the tequilas that spend certain amounts of time in barrel and therefore turn a little bit brown based on that their habitation there. And so Blancos, they're a little more pure and clean. The point is, you can make a margarita out of a Blanco or a Reposado. Both are fantastic for that, but this is in particular a very, very good Tequila Blanco that you should be checking out. It represents good value in that you're getting, for a very decent price, a whole liter of the stuff. And it represents especially good value because it has real character. When I have a margarita, I want to actually taste the tequila. I don't want it to be hidden with all the sweet stuff that is sometimes added. Of course, you should soften the tequila a bit with the Grand Marnier or another orange based a liqueur, but a triple sec basically, and yet you don't want to overdo the sweet stuff. Lime has to be in there too, of course. But if you taste the tequila behind all that, then you've got a real margarita, in my opinion. That happens here. In fact, this is going to be used at an upcoming wedding because I showed it to the bride and the groom, and they said, "That's damn good tequila. Let's do our margaritas," because the groom's drink is a margarita. So it's going to be using Tierra y Libertad, which is a slogan left over from the Mexican Revolution. A little history lesson on a ladle. How about that? Beautiful ladle too, huh? Let's just briefly tell you about a couple of things that are happening on the wine bar. Well, we already did tell you about one, but we didn't identify it as a wine bar wine. Domaine de Plus de Vie is back on the wine bar. We're showing off that new 2023 vintage. Very pretty red wine. And to kind of stay with that Rhone theme, we are going directly to the Rhone Valley of France for a 100% Grenache from vines that were planted in 1924. Yes, exactly 100 years ago. And so this is in fact heritage, or no, it's not. La Ponce, they brought up the wrong one. I got to work on that. Anyway, the one we're going to do, it looks exactly like this. It's got the funny looking beetle on there. Escaraballe or scarab beetle. There's a reason historically for the name of that winery. We can explain it when you're up here having a glass. But instead of La Ponce, we're going to pour Heritage 1924. I don't know how to say 1924 in French, but I'll bone up and learn. 100% Grenache, very, very old vines. Beautiful Rhone wine grown near Châteauneuf-du-Pape. Voila. How about just telling you about one white wine, then we let you go. This is a white wine that is part of our flight. Virey is from Mallorca, Spain. We don't often feature a wine from Mallorca. Not too many of them get over the pond to us, but this particular one did, and apparently one of the most important white grapes in Mallorca is a unheard of grape to us, at least, called Prensal. Prensal. This is bone dry and a little bit savory. It's not as fruity necessarily as this beautiful Chenin Blanc. It's a little more intriguingly savory, and we're going to let you figure out what I mean by that, by you're having a glass or having it within the white tasting flight that's happening on this week's menu. So we hope to see you upstairs, and look up that Chenin Blanc, look up this tequila and limoncello and so on, and let's look forward to harvest. It's harvest time. The next Plus de Vie is about to be fermented, harvested and fermented. Thanks so much. See you soon.